But I know that it's not supposed to be my motivation. And the reason why I'm opening up about showing you that dark thought process is because that's just my creative side kicking in. And I think that's like my version of fighting back since I don't have real power. Well, hold up. I got God. I got power beyond power. But what I'm trying to get at is that people do things and let their imagination become reality. And I don't want that for any of you. I don't want anyone to constantly circulate scenarios, hate and anger and rage, and just eventually act upon it and maximizing these thought processes in their head. And by me showing and opening you up, like in all the raw flesh, or whatever you want to refer to it as, you can kind of have an understanding of like my perspective. And this is just the perspective of like love. It doesn't even lean on success or business or family, but it does relate because it's all about knowing yourself. And then once you know yourself better and know your faults and know like everything about like seeing yourself from outside your own perspective, and you could just return to scripture and be like, all right, this is what I'm giving you, God. Now, using AI too, you can ask it to be like, I want scripture to give it back to me now in knowledge. And then slowly craft yourself over time to kind of essentially just find a more truer version of being Christ like. And there are tons of people who are just not trying to be Christ like or think they're being Christ like, but they're absolutely not, especially if you're suppressing me. Um, and so the same thing can even happen with women. I think about the women I've shown even the slightest interest in who chose something or someone else and think, you'll see. But then another thought comes. What if they simply say, we're young, we're having fun, what did you expect? You weren't pursuing me, or didn't you make your own choices? And then I think, yeah, but what would you have thought if I were already famous? And that's where I realized that I wasn't just thinking about dating, I was thinking about something much deeper. What makes people choose? What makes people value one person over another? What makes someone see potential? What makes someone ignore it? What happens when money enters the equation? What happens when fame enters the equation? What happens when physical attraction enters the equation? What happens when everyone suddenly wants you after nobody wanted you before? I spent a lot of time trying to understand those questions, and eventually I have to return to Scripture.